watching.
Subscribe.
Hello, you're watching ScreenStalker. I'm Laurie Blake, and this is the gaming news. Something like that. Have yourself a super click party, hit the thumbs up, tap subscribe, and pummel the bell icon until it begs you. Please, sir, no more. I yield no more, sir, please. To enable notifications and answer our question of the day. Do you think the way the Epic Games Store is doing business is fair? We'll be diving in deeper to the growing online resentment towards the Epic Games Store and its list of exclusive titles later on, but first a quick little whiz through some of the other big news stories in the world of gaming. Or should that be Realm? Because users of Earthrealm magic talking picture devices, TVs, may have seen a TV spot for Mortal Kombat 11 which revealed that a certain Edenian princess would be returning to the series. Yes, Kitana, who made her debut in Mortal Kombat 2 and has been a mainstay of the series since, is finally returning to battle, in which she will get her arms chopped off, her heart exploded and her head cleaved. Something. Fatality. While the reveal didn't show off any of her gameplay in the new title, there is expected to be a trailer for that sometime this week. For those of you who don't know though, Kitana is a 10,000-year-old princess who grew up believing that she was Big Bad Shao Kahn's daughter and even fought as a deadly warrior in his army. However, after learning she wasn't his daughter and that he was a naughty, naughty man, she turned on him and then eventually died in battle. She's since been resurrected as a revenant and rules Netherrealm alongside Liu Kang, looking to destroy all of the other realms. It's an intense backstory. Here I am, born in London, live in London, work in London. Boring. I'm 10,000 years old though. Kitana joins the team alongside a load of long-time cast with a K members including Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Raiden and Jax, as well as newbies, the kleptomaniacal Collector and Green Goddess Cetrion. From Netherrealm to the never say Netherrealm of rumours and speculation, because there's one going round that this week we could be in for another Nintendo Direct. Website Gaming Intel, who have a pretty good track record with these things, are reporting that their sources and insiders are saying the next Nintendo Direct will be taking place on April 11th, 2019. Now, you should take this with the usual dump truck full of salt because of the wink wink nudge nudge nature of sources and insiders, but on balance it does seem kind of likely. For one thing, this week is the last week on the job for Nintendo US President Reggie Fils-Aimé, whose final day is said to be April 15th, and I don't know, it kind of feels fitting for a Nintendo Direct to play him out. Because it would be kind of weird if Nintendo didn't do something like that to acknowledge Reggie leaving. This is My Body is Reggie. He's a president who actually had a connection with the fans. It'd be super strange for him to go quietly into the night. I mean, one of his first big appearances, he walked onto the stage and introduced himself saying, "My name is Reggie, I'm about kicking ass, I'm about taking names, and we're about making games." Now when he's retired, he won't be any of those things. No ass. No games. No names. "Hi, I'm Reggie, what's your name?" "It doesn't matter what your name is!" The other reason this Direct seems likely is because we're closing in on E3. And yes, most of the announcements will be saved for then, but there's a whole bunch of games coming out before the biggest gaming show of the year, including Super Mario Maker 2, which launches in June, and Nintendo probably won't want to keep everything about that under wraps until that late in the day. Speaking of keeping things under wraps, that is exactly what Blizzard like to do with Overwatch. Slowly teasing the reveals and releases right up until the last minute and then springing everything on you with a week to go like a drop-down death blossom. Well, they've just announced the next seasonal archives event, Storm Rising. The cheeky beggars, the Hanzo mains. For the uninitiated, archives events are lore-based flashback fun times that send 4 players back to a critical point in Overwatch history to take on waves of bots together. We've previously had Uprising and Retribution taking us to London and Venice respectively, and now Storm Rising looks to take us to Havana in the mid-store, the aftermath of a Category 3 storm. We're a team of Tracer, Genji, Winston and Mercy, so we can all have fun racing to select Genji as quickly as possible. We'll attempt to track down Doomfist's Omnic accountant Maximilian. And if all of that made little to no sense to you, oh, let's break it down! I'm not going to, that's just another quote from the game that you won't get, you noob. Right, on to today's main story, the brewing war between venerable veteran Valve's Steam and the plucky young upstart that is the Epic Games Store. Now, Epic are making a big play to corner a sector of the PC games market, and they are using a lot of mummy and daddy's cash from the Fortnite war chest to fund it. Now, the company has come under fire from fans for splashing that cash and hoovering up a range of exclusives and timed exclusive titles, leaving Steam users in the lurch. But it all kind of started innocently enough back in July last year when the store launched with a library of just 3 titles. Not much of a library, you might say, but it was good enough for my school, and I can read words just fine. Fine now. But the difference back in those halcyon days was that the exclusives like Hades from Bastion and Transistor developers Supergiant Games lent more towards the indie side of things. It was when things moved on to bigger budget, more AAA titles that people started getting annoyed. From Obsidian's latest, The Outer Worlds, which looks like what Fallout 76 wishes it was, actually good, to Metro Exodus, which is where things really came to a head. Because just weeks before launch, it was announced that 4A Games' latest would be an Epic Games Store exclusive. And having to buy the post-apocalyptic Russian-set shooter from a different client is a little annoying, sure, but the real borscht up here was that the game was already being advertised on Steam, and plenty of users on that platform had already pre-ordered the game. Thankfully, those pre-orders were honoured, but the train was beginning to come off the tracks. Epic apologised for the way they handled the announcement, but CEO Tim Sweeney later said on Twitter that Epic is open to continuing to sign funding/exclusivity deals with willing developers and publishers, regardless of their previous plans or announcements around Steam. Because what's stopping them, you know? They've got the money to muscle their way into the market, and if Valve choose not to or can't keep up, then that's just capitalism, baby. Throw a little person at a dartboard. Sign Borderlands 3 as an exclusive, because this is the American dream in action. Epic is the wolf of Windows. And to some degree, that talk of fairness doesn't actually hold up. Sure, Epic could have created a fully featured competitor to Steam rather than their bare bones, barely working placeholder and tried to win players over on merit alone. But when Steam is so entrenched in PC culture and has as good as a monopoly on game sales, honesty is only going to get you so far. You need other reasons for players to migrate, and that is games. And it's similar in a way to what happened with Fortnite and PUBG, because while PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds was in early access and slowly being readied for release, Epic stormed in with the money and staff resources and a mostly finished game that nobody actually liked to turn out a near clone in record time. And they captured a vast swathe of the market and became the winner-winner chicken dinner before PUBG could even leave early access. Now they're just the loser-loser salmonella. And yeah, here Epic leveraged its business acumen with a really savvy move that has now paid dividends. Something they're probably trying to achieve again with the Epic Games Store, especially now that they're much more flush. And for the most part, the Epic Games Store is a really good deal for developers. They're offering people development funding for exclusivity, only taking a 12% cut of sales from the store compared to Valve's 30%, which can also include the licensing of the Unreal Engine if you're so inclined to use that. So, for titles like Metro Exodus, which sold 2.5 times more than previous titles in the series on PC, that is a much larger profit. And considering that in the modern age of game development, poor sales on just one game can tank a studio, why wouldn't you take more profit? But while the business people are merrily getting on with their business, it's the gamers who are the ones that are feeling hard done to, because Steam, as I said before, is entrenched in the way they buy and play games and also interact with their friends around games. And it makes sense to be upset, because would you jump ship from Facebook where all your friends and photos and events are to join some new social network just because one cool guy you met one time was on there? Probably not, even if they did have a wicked sweet Lego collection. And that's what it feels like Epic are forcing gamers to do here. Leave behind the thriving ecosystem of Steam for the barren wasteland of the Epic Games Store. Not to mention people's other worries over back-end data collection and Chinese funding of Epic, but these are some of the more extreme theories that are floating around right now. Overall, people are just pissed that titles like Borderlands 3 are going to be exclusive to a platform they don't want to use for like 6 months. And to prove why why the latest from Gearbox Software should dock on the friendly shores of Steam, users have been review bombing the older games in the series. Brilliant. Great plan, lads. Now, this has caused Steam to debut its off-topic review activity flag, which has reportedly stopped over 4,000 reviews from appearing in the rating calculation for the game's user score, but the written reviews can still be seen. Perhaps ironically, there are no user reviews on Epic Games Store just yet. An irony not missed by Gearbox head honcho Randy Pitchford, who posted this on Twitter in response to the whole furore. Ironically, that this misuse is possible and that Steam has no interest in correcting this use makes me kinda happy about 2K's decision and makes me want to reconsider Gearbox Publishing's current posture on the platform. And this is the thing, right? The more a certain sect of Steam users get petty and toxic, the more developers will want to host their games elsewhere. The more complacent Valve is about fixing the issues on the platform, the more people will migrate. And the more money Epic spend on securing exclusives, the more their storefront begins to look like a place that's worth a browse. And I do actually think it's fair enough to not want to end up in a world in which everything on PC is split across 100 different launchers and platforms, and the worry is always going to be there that something like the Epic Games Store could kill Steam eventually, and then we'll all be stuck buying our games again, trading in bottle caps in a Steamless post-apocalypse. But really, it's kind of doubtful it'd ever come to that. For one thing, Valve has so much cash, it should just be embarrassed. It's got so much cash, it doesn't have to make Half-Life 3, because that's when you know they're in real dire straits. So realistically, healthy competition from a really flush foe in the short term at least should be good for us gamers, even if the marketplace isn't as fully featured as we would like, because it means that developers can find funding, smaller games can find the space and the time to shine, and you never know, things might even be cheaper. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to have that super click party on the thumbs up, subscribe button, and the bell icon, and don't forget to answer our question of the day in the comments down below. And if you want more awesome ScreenStalker content, why not head over there to watch us play through Devil May Cry 5, but mostly take the mickey out of Chopper. And remember, we're watching.